Hi, welcome to the Bag Makers Society. Today's episode obviously is a little bit earlier, so thank you so much to everybody who's joined us 3 hours earlier than what we normally go live at. I appreciate some people might be skiving out of work, basically. So I appreciate it if you are. Obviously, today's guest is coming to us from America, hence why the time schedule and everything is different. So I'm sure you will have seen by the thumbnails and by all the postings that I've been doing in a lot of the Facebook groups that our guest is be no stranger to anybody in the bag making world. So without further ado, let me bring in Lauren. Hi, Lauren.
Hello, how's it going?
Hi. Hopefully the sound and everything is okay. I'm just checking in the comments because usually Andy comes in and lets me know that the sound is all right. I'm not going to have the opportunity to go through and say hi to every single person who is commenting in the feed. Andy says it's fine. But obviously everybody who is joining us live this evening, welcome. If you're watching back on replay, please do leave a comment because we'll both see the comments as well. So, and Rochelle's actually saying the sound is good as well. So it sounds like we're on to a winner. We were a little bit worried about a few little tech issues that we might have had today, but we seem to have navigated them okay. I can see Jen from Sincerely Jen Patterns is here. Just kind of going to go through and say hi randomly to a few people. We've got Sue, a couple of Hazels, Beth from Soul Country is here, Craft, Knit and Sew is here as well. I wish I could knit because that totally and utterly bypassed me by I can't knit at all.
That's a lot.
So obviously a lot of crafty folks in the comments. So thank you so much for giving up a little bit of your time this afternoon, because it's sort of morning time there, isn't it?
It's like 11 lunchtime-ish, maybe, but depending on where you are, yeah.
Yeah. So I do really appreciate you giving up some of your time this morning to chat with us. Very, very excited. So most people, like I said in the beginning, will know you within the bag making world. You know, they probably follow your YouTube channel, they're probably within your Facebook group. But just for anybody who might be watching this who hasn't come across you yet, do you just want to sort of briefly tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into bag making?
Yes. My name is Lauren Mormino. I have been in the bag making industry for 8 years, maybe a little bit more, since 2016 is what I can aptly remember. And I started going live in the Swoon Facebook group, and then decided it would be more fun if I had my own little group. So I had actually already created Sew Whatever for local sewing classes that I had started. I did one set and that was it. But I started going live in the Facebook group regularly. It was a way to kind of hang out with other people while I was alone, which was really nice, and also show off like tips and tricks that I had learned while I was making patterns. I had just gotten my industrial machine, and it just kind of took off from there. So, yeah.
And is that the same industrial machine that's still going strong now?
Yes, it is the main one that I use. I still use the ones that are behind me as well, but this one has been through it. It's scuffed and scratched, so I don't mind putting it through.
Yeah, it's been a real workhorse then, hasn't it?
Yes, yeah, and I really haven't done much maintenance. I've changed the belt a couple times, changed the oil a little bit, but other than that, it still works great.
Yeah, mine's the same. I mean, mine's obviously a different make, but it's the kind of model the same. And yeah, mine's the same. I change the oil on it intermittently when it looks a little bit like, oh, that needs doing. But on the whole, they are so robust. They need very little maintenance, and they just are workhorses, aren't they? You can pretty much throw anything at them.
Yes, yeah, I love it.
So you said obviously that you've been in the bag making world since about 2016, obviously sewing within your group and then starting YouTube. Obviously now you have your bag making supplies business, you've created your own patterns. which part of it is the part that you enjoy the most?
That's a good question. I definitely feel like in-person teaching and like getting to meet all of the friends that I've talked to online for years and years is definitely one of my favorite parts. It makes it more real to me. Like for the longest time, it was just like I'd go live and I'd be like, oh, there's comments on the screen, cool. But getting to meet people is like, oh, this is a real thing. This is really cool. So I definitely love selling supplies as well. I love being able to source different materials. I love being able to try things out. And I know I have a preference of things that I absolutely love. So being able to find those and create them even is really, really, really fun.
Yeah. So obviously it's only been recently that you've had the studio space.
1 year, yeah.
Yeah. How do you kind of manage it all? Like basically I want to know what your secret is to not having a nervous breakdown while running your YouTube. Oh, that makes me feel better because I have them often. But then obviously now having the space and running events. I know that you've got a big event coming up next year, so we'll touch on that in a little bit. But yeah, like how do you do it all?
I would say I definitely have a good support system, and that is very important. We kind of talked privately earlier about how like I can't sit and do nothing. I'm not good at it. I would never, like I can't just take a break. I don't know what that looks like. And also it's how I pay my bills. So it's kind of important that I don't. That's a big push there. But yeah, so I have tons of help. We have 6 employees at my business. I don't know. It seems weird to say that, but so I have lots of help, which is wonderful. A lot of people behind me that are just like, well, let's do it then. All right, let's go. So that really helps. But I definitely have those mental breakdowns and those moments of just like, what am I doing and can I do this? Should I keep doing this? But then I keep doing it. So
yeah, you sound so much like me. Mental breakdowns often, and I'm lucky that I obviously have my husband who helps me quite a lot and usually deals with the mental breakdowns that I have when I'm standing in my sewing room crying because everything's gone pear-shaped and questioning life. He brings me back down to earth and everything's okay again.
Well,
so like you say, that support system, it's sort of make or break, isn't it, for being able to do it. And a lot of people won't see, I know that you do share in the group and on the YouTube channel and that some of the behind the scenes, but people won't always sort of see how much goes into the support side that you get, like how much support you do get, which obviously makes it possible.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. I'm going to just quickly go to some of the comments. Obviously, we've had one asking about do you create your own patterns, which we've touched on, which you do. And I think they're all on your website, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah. I think everything's linked in the description box down below. If it's not, I will make sure that I go in after and make sure that everything is there. Paul is saying, Lauren, you were the first bag maker YouTube channel I watched and was hooked.
Thank you, Paula.
And Paula's lovely because I know Paula in real life. Paula lives not far from me, so we get together quite a bit and sew and usually eat cake, if I'm completely honest with you. You asked, Lauren, when you're making a bag, are you thinking of the 2 or 3 of the next bags that you want to make?
I think it depends on the day, but when I had more time for sewing and batch sewing, production sewing, definitely was, just because the creative juices were already there and it was just kind of ready to go. And it was like, oh, we've got these materials, we can pair this together and this together and this together. And like, oh, that would be good on this one, this one, this one. So I usually would spend like a full day cutting out, or I had my friend Tammy, who is now the warehouse manager here, to help me cut out those bags so that I could be sewing in production style. So yes, lately, not as much, but yes.
Yeah. Me and Emma, who's Studio 77, who I know that you know, we often talk about the fact that running a sewing business means that you sew way less. And it's just, it just eats up into that sewing time. But
yeah.
But like you say, it is fun and it is enjoyable. Hazel's asking, do you always have the vision of having Sew Whatever studios, or did it just naturally progress? That's a really good question.
That's a good question. I love that question. I'd say much like the rest of my business, it has naturally progressed. When we moved into the building, I don't remember saying this, but my mother-in-law said it. She was like, do you remember you wanted to have classes in this room? And I was like, oh yeah, I did. It's now the stock room of our warehouse, and it would have fit like 6 sewing machines. So I knew after doing in-person classes so often, and then especially after teaching in Dallas at the Sunny Sewing Machine warehouse sales room, that I wanted an industrial classroom, because getting to teach people to use industrial, showing them that it is not scary, and then watching them complete their bag on a machine that is fully capable of completing it was just like, just so relieving to me. So last year we had looked into purchasing a separate building within our complex to move into that would have had the space. And then we were like, I don't want to move it. So we hired a contractor to build on to basically double our warehouse space, because when we purchased the lot, it had land for that. So it was always kind of in the back of my mind. So the studio definitely progressed as the contractor was working on it. But I knew after teaching out of state, et cetera, traveling, I thought I could travel and teach with industrials. But having a 4-year-old, like, it's not great for family life to be gone constantly. So I was like, I knew I needed something in person, and I wanted to control the environment that teachers then got to come into and get to feel creative instead of like under someone else's rules. Because we talked about this earlier. We're both not very good at following rules. We don't like those. So I can understand from another teacher's point of view what that's like when someone's like, I need you to do this, I need you to do this, you can't say this, and you can't say this. And I'm just like, well, that's not fun. So I wanted to create a space where the teacher could say to me, I want to teach this day and this day. I want to teach this many hours, and I want to teach this, and I want to play Lord of the Rings in the back while we're doing it. And I'm like, let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah, sounds like an amazing setup.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been really, really fun. We've had, I think, 14 classes this year. Maybe I think the 14th one is coming up, but it's been a lot. I'm still away from home more than I would like. But at least I get to come home to go to sleep, which is Yeah.
And I think sometimes when you have a business, having it sort of progress organically as such is so, it can be a lot easier to manage than sort of really trying to push. I mean, obviously as business owners, we've always got to have that little bit of push and a little bit of drive, otherwise we don't survive. But having it kind of flow and just kind of go at its own space, its own pace sometimes is the best way. Because then you take it for a ride rather than it taking you for a ride.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes for me it's a little bit of both. But I'm like, my goal for 2025 is to like be more in control. I feel like this year I've been very much like, what is happening? And it's been hard to focus and get everything I need to get done with like the amount of focus I would like to give it, especially having a 4-year-old. I'm just like, what is happening today? So we're getting through it though. I think it'll be a fun year coming up.
Yeah. I mean, if it's anything like the last couple of years that you've had, you're in for a wild ride, and we're all in for a wild ride if you take us with you. You know,
it's true.
It's fun. It's fun to sort of say that progression that you've had. And like I was literally saying to you before we came on, like I still now go back and watch some of those very, very early videos, and I don't think there's like a great deal of difference a lot of the time in those videos. You know, yes, maybe it's lighting, maybe it's audio, you know, maybe you're a little bit more confident on camera, but I still think that underlying passion for why you were doing it still exactly the same. And I think you can see that when you watch the older videos.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely feel that way. It's just like, I just want to be creative and share that. I want to inspire other people to be creative. That's what it is for me. And to give somebody some company, basically, because again, that's what it is for me. When I was down here sewing for hours and hours, and I'm just like, people, where are the people?
Yeah. I had a lovely email today from somebody, and she spoke about the podcast and said that she's loving it. She's loving like listening to all the different guests, you know, both those that have got big followings and those that, you know, have no following, that are just, you know, Georgian blogs sitting in their sewing room sewing, and you know, don't maybe even have an Instagram or have a Facebook, but they've come on and talked about their journey, and that she absolutely loves it. One of the things she said is she feels like she's got friends in her sewing room with her, and I was like, oh, that kind of drives me to keep on going with when things get tough and what have you. So I'm sure that sort of sense of community for you is what kind of
absolutely
keeps you going in those hard times. I just want to bring in this comment. But we'll only talk about them a little bit. I just wanted to bring in this comment from Beth, who says, Lauren is such a wonderful resource for both education and supplies. So thankful for her in our sewing community. And I think this name is Rialta. I think that's how you pronounce it. How did you learn to sew bags? That's a good question.
I feel like I'm mostly self-taught. Like, no one specifically taught me, but I do remember I would self-draft bags when I was younger. And then I was making hair bows, and someone who bought hair bows a lot from me and bought some other stuff was like, can you make me a purse? And I was like, maybe, sure. So the bag she sent to me was the India Hobo from Swoon, and it took me 7 hours to cut it. I'm pretty sure 7 hours to cut and interface that thing, and then like probably 10 hours to sew it. Like, I was so out of my league. I was just like, what is happening? I remember making the zipper pocket and crying because I was like, what? How am I supposed to do this? Like, I have to pin that together and then cut it and then flip it? That's not going to work. So when people are like, I don't understand, I'm like, I have been there, but it works. I promise.
Yeah, that's one of my sayings as well, is just trust the process. One step at a time, and trust the process. It will be fine.
Yeah, and it will be fine. It was fine, but I'm going to question everything, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, obviously. So have you always just sewn bags, or have you been into dressmaking or quilting or any other types of sewing endeavours?
I have dabbled in a lot of things. I think I've made maybe one quilt for my niece 10 years ago, and I've made a couple of dresses. I'm not great at it, but I've definitely dabbled in a lot of different crafty sewing things, but handbags are what I keep coming back to. And I remember my husband saying, like, well, you go through a lot of phases, so I'm sure this is a phase that will just phase out. I can't wait to see what's next, but yeah, it's been a while, so I haven't phased out yet.
Yeah, 8 years later, still going.
Yeah.
Does he sew at all?
He does not. I did one video with him making a zipper pouch, and I think he hated me in the end. No, I did a video showing my family how to sew last year at this time, and he made a zipper pouch then too, and he did pretty good.
Right. Yeah. I don't know whether you've seen on my channel, my husband is has been dabbling this year in sewing bags. So that is really fun. And he made his first one on the industrial a couple of weekends ago. So just what you were saying there about taking somebody who's never sewn on an industrial and seeing them being able to use it and complete that bag, that just reminded me of the other weekend when the first time Andy sat at this, he was like, no, absolutely not. Not for me. And then he was making a messenger bag that really kind of needed, probably would have been fine on the Janome, but I wanted to try and get him onto this because I knew he would love it if he just gave it a bit of a chance. he did. And like you said before, that literally that sort of having that, you know, seeing somebody being able to do something that they hadn't done before on a machine that they probably thought was well out of their league was is something special.
Yeah, for sure.
Just going to bring in Maria's comment here saying, hello, I made it. Hi, Lauren. Huge fangirl over here. I actually saw Maria at the weekend, and she was the first person that I told that you'd agreed to come on the podcast, because she said, when are you going to get Lauren on? And I said, well, it's funny you should ask that, because she's coming on Wednesday. There was a squeal from the back of the car. So yeah, she was excited to know that you were coming on. Sarah's asking, with so many new bags being released, how do you decide which ones to make?
That is an excellent question. I feel like I pick the ones that inspire me or seem easy enough at this point in my life. Honestly. Like I just made a tester last night for Ora Rosa, and I did not have the time, but I took a nap, and I woke up at midnight and was like, well, I can make a bag now. So I went ahead and did that last night. But doing the pattern chat overview, getting to look through all of those, I'm like, oh, I really like the way that looks. I like the way that looks. So I'll put it on a list, and then eventually I'll get to them. But yeah, I would think I decide how to make it based on if a designer asks me and I really like the bag, or just kind of what inspires me or what I think other people might really like. Yeah.
And like you say, at the moment, with life being so busy, probably a lot of your factor is whether you have the time to squeeze it in. Yeah.
Especially since, I mean, when you think about making a bag from start to finish, it could take 6 to 8 hours, especially for a new one. When you start to dig into how to make it, how to interface it, you're learning how to cut it, and then you're going over the instructions and having to sew it. And if you really want to take your time, it's going to take a lot of time. And for me, I'm just like, I don't know how I have that, but I want to have that. I miss sewing so very much. So hopefully next year I can find the time. I really want to do make at least a bag a week or something.
Yeah. I find as well, I don't know whether you're the same, when I'm cutting out especially a bag for the first time, it's trying to work out which bits of which material. So is that vinyl? Is that, is that my accent? Is that usually I'm okay with the lining parts, but when, an outside's got a few different sort of materials going on, I'm like, which bits? And inevitably, I will get at least one wrong. I'll cut one out of my accent when it should have been my vinyl, or vice versa. But then once you've made it,
or do you just go with it?
If I've got enough, I'll go and recut it. But then you go to make it the second time, and that cutting out process just seems so much easier because you've seen how it goes together, so you can envisage, well, that pattern piece is that pattern piece because you've remembered how it goes together. Absolutely. So I always think that first time is much more difficult in the cutting out process anyway, because you haven't got that visual. I can look at pictures, but I'm still finding it hard to work out which pattern piece is which pattern piece in my head.
Yeah. Like, where does that go and how is that going to sew? And is that going to be too bulky in that seam if I put that there? And
Yeah. Alison's asking, have you got any advice for bag makers newer to the craft who think they are not where they should be skill-wise or struggling with confidence?
I would say just keep going and give yourself a little bit of grace. Don't compare yourself to other people because you're not those people. I have done that tons and tons and tons, and at the end of the day I have to go, wait a minute, but I'm me, and this is what I can do, so this is what I'm going to keep doing. I don't want to say terrible bags because I'm sure your bags aren't terrible, but they're not the bags that I make today for probably 2 to 3 years that I look back and I'm just like, oh, but you're not going to grow if you don't make those. So I would say even if they're not the best materials, just keep making it and learning and trying to get better if that's what you want.
Yeah. I think with every bag you make, you take away something, if it's a new technique that pattern designer brings, then you learn that. sometimes it's not to have something on the telly that you're getting too interested in and you get sidetracked. That's been quite a big learning experience for me this week.
Yeah.
So, I think each project brings its own learning, doesn't it? No matter how big or how small it is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I would be with you on that one. To say, just keep going.
Yeah. Just give yourself some grace if you can.
So, Craft Knit and Sew, who I mentioned very much earlier on to say hi to, she's just recently coming into bag making. I saw her in a comment. She's saying you both make bag making videos. Lauren makes the best bag making videos, so definitely go and check out. Go and check out her channel, and you will find hundreds and hundreds of bag making videos.
A large amount.
Yeah, Muriel saying, I was crocheting and knitting purses when I came across Lauren's channel, and she brought my sojo back. Her energy is amazing, and I miss sewing so much that I had to find an industrial machine.
Oh yeah,
and
I hope
she said that was 8 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
time flies.
There's lots of people in the chat who are saying very similar to what Valerie's saying here, that you were the one that got them into making bags. And a little bit like Paula, I would say you were probably one of the first channels that I sort of like obsessively watched. Like I'd watched sort of, prior to that, I'd watched sort of odd videos on how to do that, how to do this. And like you, totally self-taught, usually by my mistakes. But your channel was probably the first one I came across and like would just watch and watch and watch and watch.
Oh, thank you.
And particularly through COVID and the pandemic, I found having those videos to kind of keep me company and keep me on the straight and narrow when I didn't know what I was doing.
What's going on? Yeah.
Was very, very helpful.
Yeah.
Well, Rochelle has got an amazing question. What do you do with all of your bags? This I need an answer to because I have a huge stash that I need to sort. My mom has been telling me off today for it.
Gotta get rid of them. So a big portion of my business used to be that I would sell at Comic-Cons in different states. And so I sold a ton of bags that way. That was how I made my money. That's how I made a living. I used to sell bags out of damaged LuLaRoe leggings. I don't know if you've heard of that company, but
no.
They had really fun prints that people obsessed over. And there would be holes in people's leggings, and they were so sad because the material was terrible. So I would take them. I would interface them very well, and then I would create bags to then sell to them so they could still have that print. So that was how I made a huge chunk of my living. I would work 18-hour days, cutting and interfacing, sewing, et cetera, to pay my bills and beyond, and save up enough to get out of the tiny house that I was living in because my stuff was everywhere. It was chaos. But so now I sell my bags on my website, mormino.com. I don't make as many bags as I would like to, like I said, but if there is a bag that I have messed up and I don't really know what to do with it, but it's still super usable, I will sell it super cheap. I know that's not necessarily in everybody's budget or ability to do, but it's kind of like, well, at least I can recoup something. I've learned how to make it this time, but I can give it to somebody to use for a little bit. At least it holds stuff,
Yeah. It can be really difficult to, like, I'm literally behind my computer screen is just a huge pile that I need to get sorted and probably get put on my website and what have you. But yeah, it's just another thing to add sometimes, isn't it? That it's getting the time. But yeah, I got wrong off my mum today she was like, why are all these lovely bags just sitting there? And I was like, because I haven't sorted them out yet. And she was like, well, you need to. Like, okay. Scandian Oceans is saying she managed to catch a live for the first time. Nice to finally meet you, Lauren. And Terry's saying I've been subscribed. Enjoy your channel, and of course I love Lauren.
Oh, yay!
I mean, it goes without saying. Rebecca's saying, hello from London town. Just walked in from visiting my mum from hospital, drinking a Yorkshire tea. And my two beautiful favourite bag ladies, just what I need, sips tea and I have questions. Please bring on the questions, Rebecca. That's absolutely fine. That is what the chat is for.
Yes, please.
Yeah. I'm really interested to know, obviously you've had so much change, so much growth. Where do you kind of see Sew-Whatever and Mormino kind of going in the future? Which direction do you think you'll mainly sort of focus on?
That is a wonderful question. I think for 2025, we've had 2 releases a month of new product for the last like 2 years. I don't think 3 years, but definitely 1.5 to 2 years. And it's just been a lot to keep up with. Like, I just feel like I can't even sew with all that we bring out. So I think in 2025, we're going to kind of scale back and go to 1 release of new product a month, and just kind of release new things here and there. Because I feel like it's gone from me really enjoying and getting to use the product a ton to me just trying to find something that's like, it's new, yay, but there's so much new. People are so overwhelmed, and I feel like that's what I kind of want to get back to, is like using what I have here. Creating new patterns would be super fun. I just don't think I have the mental energy at this time, because those take upwards of 60 to 70 hours to put together a pattern, especially with illustrations, et cetera, et cetera. We're definitely focusing on maybe only having 1 class per month coming up. I love having the classes so much, but they are very draining, having to be there all day and like I said, being away from family. So I'm going to take like a breather, take a little year to kind of figure out what is next. I don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to kind of just take a step back, see the journey that you've been on, which has been tremendous. It's been amazing, and just kind of let it sink in.
Yeah. And when people say things like, "Oh my gosh, can you believe how far you've come?" I'm like, "What? No, what? How far have I come? I don't know," because I don't take a minute to really sit there and go,
Yeah.
I just have to be like, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
So,
are you like me? Even when you're sitting watching the TV, you have to be doing something else. You can't just sit and watch the telly and not do anything else.
No, I have a crochet blanket that I've been working on since high school, so it's really long. It's huge. I can't stop, but that's what I do when I watch TV for a long period of time. I don't get to do that very often, but
yeah,
when I'm just sitting, I'm like, just crocheting the same blanket.
Well, like you say, it'll be very big and very useful and very cozy. Do you wrap yourself up in it in the same time as crocheting it? Yeah, that sounds like fun. Livia's saying she was a quilter when she ran across your channel many moons ago. She's the reason I make bags today. So thank you, Deb, for your channel and sharing with everyone. Oh, that's lovely. It is nice, isn't it, to hear that people have sort of found you, and just kind of by doing what you do, you've inspired somebody else to try something.
Definitely.
Yeah. Lynn says, Deb and Lauren, yeah, I'm so excited. Lauren always shares my makes on socials. I'm Bean and Bear Studio, and I appreciate it so much. Such a lovely, kind, magical lady.
Oh.
And Hazel's asking, are you doing any more project boxes? My husband said he would get me one next time.
I don't know. We still have a bunch. We still have about 100 of the other one left in stock, and so they take so much time, work, and money to put together since I don't do pre-orders. So we were kind of needing that to sell out before we could work on another one. So it'll be some time. At this point, I do one like every other year, so I might stick with that. So the next one would be like maybe 2026. Just because, again, it feels overwhelming to have so much stuff coming out at once. And everything in this last project box was so well curated and well thought out. Like the cork matches the vinyl. We got a custom thread to match it all. There's a ruler that matches it too. And like it was a lot. So to have that momentum and that mental energy to put it together again, I'm like, 2026, we'll give some time.
Yeah. Do you feel, and I get this sense, and I could be wrong, but that everything that you do, you want to be absolutely perfect. So you put your heart and soul into it. So that in itself can sort of take a lot from you.
A little bit, but I know myself well enough to know that it will not be perfect.
Mm-hmm. But do you want it to be? That was my question.
Yeah. But I also, like, I've been in it so long that I know that there's going to be things that are not what they should have been. Like the boxes for this one, they were an inch too small. So not everything fit in it perfectly, which was a huge frustration. But instead of like getting angry and crying about it, it's one of those like, well, we already have the boxes, so what do we do to fix it? And it just kind of kept going on with like, well, what do we do to fix it? So that's something that I excel at, is problem solving and fixing not good things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, when you run your own business, you've got to either be very good at that yourself or have somebody within your support network who's very good at that. Yeah. Who's good at sort of bringing you back and kind of saying, right, it's solvable. It's not the end of the world. And usually any sort of things that come up usually aren't the end of the world, that are solvable. They might not always be solvable in the timescales you want them to be, but they are always, doable, or you can work around them, like you've just said, with the boxes not being quite right. You made it work.
Yep.
Yeah. I've got to come to Brian, who says, as a sewing dude, I always look to see what you're making to help me see what's trending. What do you see as the next trend in bag styles?
I have no idea. I wish that I could say that I did know. I just kind of go with the flow and make what I like, and somehow it ends up being on trend in a way. And if it's not, I'm kind of like, well, if I like it, somebody else will.
Yeah. And it can be sort of overwhelming, can't it, sometimes, with so many different bags out there, and then you want to do something that people are going to like, but you want to do something that you like too. So finding that balance. Yeah. Rebecca says that she's been designing bags for a year. I've actually seen one of her bag designs, and amazing. I believe I invented the wheel until I see bags others released before mine and similars are the same. What would you do, Lauren?
Hold on one second. I have to cough really bad. Okay, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I could feel it. So I have definitely had that happen, and I've seen it happen. And one of the best things you can do is, especially if you're already writing it, you're already in that process of creating it, is to reach out to that designer, talk to them, and see, like, hey, I have this going. I didn't know yours existed. I haven't seen it. Is it possible that we have a different way of putting it together to where you're okay with me releasing this, etc.? I feel like that is really the best way to kind of get ahead of it in an I don't want to say ethical, that might not be the right word, but more or less like in an ethical way of creating that community instead of creating an enemy. Because I feel like a lot of people assume like, oh, we have the same bag. This looks exactly the same. But truly there are so many differences. Your bag is going to see a different audience that someone else's bag might. You might have a technique. You might have a style of writing it that resonates with someone versus the way somebody else wrote it. So I would say just go for it, unless it's like truly the exact same thing down to the way it's created. And then like, maybe not. Maybe we don't need the second, but.
Yeah, I think that's probably like a really good way to go about it.
Yeah.
So Gina's saying, love you both, very inspiring for a new bag maker like me. Lots of love from Ireland. Hazel saying, it must have been fun to kit out the classroom. It must be a bag maker's paradise.
Yes, it was very fun. Very expensive. I think I spent like $800 just on pegboard and accessories, but I was like, I want this to be the best room ever. So it really is. I'm a very organized person, and I like that everything has a home. So when we're cleaning up the classroom after a huge class, everything is chaos, everything is everywhere. We know exactly where it goes, so we can clean up or they can clean up. It's great. The classes are a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, I think in order for it
every single time.
But I think in order for it to work well, it needs to be, doesn't it? Because if it was just kind of chaotic, it wouldn't be a nice environment for other teachers to come into. It would be quite stressful.
Right.
But then you know where everything is. If you need to do an inventory of, do we still have, 15 rulers? You can go straight away, and that'd be a very, very easy thing for you then to check and know that there is 15 rulers. Yeah.
Yes. I will also say that we have applications open for 2025 for teachers, just saying. So
I know, if only you weren't so far away. Yeah, maybe sell a kidney or something for the airfare. Laura, have you ever written a bag pattern or pattern books? I'd love to see what you do. Yeah, so there are on your website. That was right, wasn't it?
Yes, I do have lots of patterns. They vary in timeline of how I created them. So I'd say my newest ones are the best written, and the old ones really need an update. But finding the time has been a nightmare. But I've never written any kind of like actual book. I'm not very good at writing. Like, it's not my strong suit. I get very distracted easily, and then I'll also change my tone somehow. So not for me, but I support those who do, because that is a lot of work.
Do you find yourself, when you're following a pattern, are you more of a visual learner than a written learner?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. I always look to see, especially if the pattern designer's done a video as well. It's one of the reasons why I will always be a very huge Lavender and Twine fan, because her videos are just so well executed, and I quite often don't even need to look at the pattern. I'll obviously do it for the interface and my cutting out, but from then I can just watch the videos and I don't even refer to the pattern, because I'm a bit like you. I prefer visual videos.
Yeah, I can read the words several times and I'm just like, put it face down with the so I'm definitely like, show me, just show me. I'll get it when you show me.
And especially if it's a new way of doing it, or somebody's got to totally changing up how something goes together, and you're doing it completely the different way to how you would normally do it, and you're like, I remember the first time I did a zipper pocket with an accent, and putting the zipper onto the pocket piece, both of them right sides up. That blew my mind.
Yep, it still gets me sometimes. I'm like, what? But if you unzip and you look inside, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've quite often got to just like, am I doing this? Yes, I am doing this the right way. If it feels the opposite way, I'm doing it the right way.
Yeah, and I feel like some people will get discouraged when they have to do that. They're like, man, I should really just understand it. But it's like, even people doing the videos have to second guess themselves and wonder if they're doing it correctly, etc. So you're doing amazing. All of you, everyone.
Exactly. Tracy's asking, whereabouts are you based?
So I live in the United States, in Illinois, close to Missouri. So a lot of people think Chicago when I say Illinois, but Chicago's like up here and I'm like down here, and then St. Louis is like right here. So near St. Louis in Illinois.
No. My geography is not great. I usually do things if it's in that way to New York or in that way to California's on the opposite side, isn't it? Yeah, that way to California,
I think so.
And then I know Las Vegas a little bit, and I know Washington a little bit, and then and everywhere else I kind of really struggle with.
Yeah, well, I'm in like the middle-ish.
Yeah. I mean, obviously America's just so big anyway, isn't it? Like, especially for us over here, we
so
can
close together.
We can like sort of drive our island. If you had pretty much a tag team, you could do it in one day. You could it would be easy. And then you look at America and you're like, wow, that's huge.
Yeah. 3-day drive somewhere.
Yeah. Karen saying, first bag video I stumbled on was Lauren's quick and clear carry all made with sewing themed comic fabric. That started me on my bag making pursuit. I loved Lauren's entertaining and educational videos.
Oh, thank you. I feel like that's definitely one of the best videos that I've done. I really took my time on it and like made sure everything looked good. And I'm like, why can't I do that normal? I'm just like, it's fine. Let's go. I got 20 minutes.
No. Let's do this. Kira's obviously been in your classroom because she says it's truly the best classroom ever. And Sandy's saying she's hoping to make one in 2025.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Exciting. So Rebecca's saying the first pattern I ever bought and made without a video help was Lauren's art bag. I made it for an artist and it was great.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. It's lovely. It is lovely, isn't it? To sort of hear that people love not only your way of teaching, but when you've brought out bag patterns, that they really enjoy them as well. Because like you say, they do take a lot. They don't, they're not something that just come together in the click of.
And usually you hear the negative stuff. If not only the negative stuff, it's still louder. So it's a good change.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just getting a WhatsApp message at the same time on my computer and it's discombobulated me.
I feel that.
Johnny's, I think it's Johnny, yeah, I haven't got my glasses on, is saying, Lauren, you are such an inspiration. You have a beautiful success story in every single aspect of sewing and bag making. Thank you for all you do for us and always with a beautiful heart. That's a lovely message, isn't it? Yeah. Is there any other people out there on YouTube, bag makers, that you find particularly inspiring as well? So when they might have made something and you think, oh, I wish I'd thought of putting that together, or I like how they do that. So somebody who you gravitate to.
I definitely feel inspiration from Erica. Like you said, her patterns are literally works of art. It's not something that I could ever aspire to as a designer, just because I like to keep it a little more simple, but I just love the way her mind works a lot. I love that. But really any pattern designer that puts themselves out there and really just goes for it, I'm inspired by. I'm like, it's such hard work. It's so much time to do all that. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think we've kind of like touched on it. I can't actually remember whether it's been in this chat or whether it's us talking before, but how do you fit everything in? Like, how do you physically manage to sort of know where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be, and, do your videos, edit your videos, get them up? Like, yeah.
I usually just skip sleeping. Or I'll take a series of naps usually. But no, that is definitely something I've struggled with this year, is finding the time to do everything and doing it well. I feel not like I rush things, but like I feel like I have to do it in a rush or it's not going to get done. And I definitely feel like there is not enough time for everything, especially with the classes. Like, that is my whole weekend and I'm there to help and I absolutely love it. But like I can't usually be writing patterns or, filming videos during that time. So it gets a little difficult. So I give up sleep, and that's where I'm at. That's my tip.
Basically what we need to do. Yeah. I mean, I don't sleep very well anyway, but I don't know whether my husband and stepchildren would be very happy if the sewing machine was going at like 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. I don't think it's great, but it's what I got.
Not so keen. If I had like a sort of separate annex or outhouse, maybe, but I am literally in what used to be our living room. I basically just took it over. So yeah, I don't think they'd be very pleased if I was wicked too.
One thing I've been struggling with is like, I don't have to do it all. I feel like I have to do it all, and I put that pressure on myself. And I realize that makes other people think they're not doing enough, Mm-hmm. And lately I've watched other people do a lot, and I'm taking a step back, and I'm just like, man, I'm not doing enough. But when you think about it, it's like, no, you're doing enough. It's enough. It's okay. Take a step back. It's okay.
How did you manage, once you started getting a bit of a team, to hand over that control
It was definitely hard, but I started developing my team when I got pregnant with Dorothy. So I was like 5 months along, maybe. And I brought in another person to help, and they were like, "Oh, this is really cool. I'm excited." And I'm like, "Well, I'm pregnant, so please help me." And they're like, "Oh, that's so exciting." So slowly but surely, I brought in more and more, and I realized like this isn't what needs my focus and attention. I know that people who have the same amount of focus and attention that I would are taking it over. It is okay, and I can step in when needed, but it is still very hard to give up that control for me still.
Yeah. I've tried outsourcing a couple of things, and I really find it difficult to.
Yeah.
About the only person I trust is Andy, who does help with the physical picking and packing of orders and stuff like that. But anything
Yeah.
else, I think I really really struggle to kind of, because if you're anything like me, what you've created, your baby, and it's your heart and it's your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's going to love it as much as what you do.
Nope.
So it can be hard to kind of say,
Yeah.
can you do this for me, and do it exactly how I would do it.
I think you just have to accept it's not going to be exact. Mm-hmm. And you got to tell yourself it's okay or not do it.
So, but sometimes somebody might take it and do a better job. They might sort of, be able to create something that you think, oh, actually, they've done that way better than me. Yeah. I'm just yet to find it. Hopefully I will.
Yeah.
Hopefully I will. Oh. And then just the one last question that I've got written down is sort of like, what projects have you got that you're working on at the moment? What's kind of going on in the background?
Define project. Like a literal sewing project, or like a thing?
A thing.
Okay. So slowly but surely, I'm working on putting together the Sew Whatever Summit, we are calling it. So it's going to be an event with a max of 90 students within our warehouse facility. I'm really excited. We did something similar last year, and everyone was like, please do it again, please do it again. So I decided, okay, I'm going to do it again, but I think we'll switch to every other year after that, just because, again, it's a lot, it's overwhelming, it's hard to put together, and it's okay to take a step back. There will be more time. I'm trying to remember that. But I'm excited. We're going to have at least 18 classes between domestic and industrial. We'll have demos. We'll have a tent with different events and crafts that you can do as well, and vendors within our warehouse, as well as people being able to shop from our warehouse. So I'm really excited for that. I'm going to be picking teachers, announcing, and like reaching out to the teachers. And then I think we have tickets going on sale January 10th, which I'm excited for.
Is it April time?
Yes, April 25th-ish. But it's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Thursday is classes only. I just felt like the 3 days was not enough time for that many people to get into a bunch of classes and to be able to have an ample amount of teachers. Because like I mentioned earlier, something I'm really focused on is the student experience and the teacher experience. So rushing through classes, having short class times is not the way to learn anything. You're just going to feel stressed and rushed, and it's not fun. And then the other great thing is that we have all the machines provided. So we have our industrial classroom, and then we set up a domestic classroom so that you just have to show up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the dream.
Yeah, it does make things a lot, especially if people are traveling from sort of, across the pond or from across the other side of America. Because it's not like I say, for us, worst case scenario, we can just load everything into our car and drive there. It may be a little bit of a long drive, but it's, it's doable. It's not always the case for you, is it? That, it can be such a difference. So you've got to take into account aeroplanes, and so being able just to arrive, unpack all your favorite notions and, your favorite pair of scissors and all of that sort of thing, if you really, really want to bring your own.
Yes.
But from what I've seen, you've literally got rulers, scissors, pens, even, everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really fun. Last December, I had a small group of people come to the studio different designers throughout the year, and people that I knew would be able to give really good feedback and tell me what we needed in the space still. And it was really fun. So they were like, hey, you don't have this, maybe get some of those. And I'd be like, yep, I've got it in the Amazon cart and things like that. And it was people that I knew could really go with the flow with issues in classes, because we definitely came up with a lot of class issues. And it was just troubleshooting throughout the year. So once I knew, like, okay, it's perfect, that's when for 2025 we've opened applications to anybody who wants to teach, because we feel like we've got it down pretty perfect. As perfect as we can get it.
Yeah. I'm sure it's absolutely lovely. Craft, I nearly said Karen there. I don't know why I said Karen. Craft, knit and sew. I think it's because there's a K in there. Said that she would love to go to a class. So
yes, so we
obviously
have
everything
classes
is on your website.
Yes,
isn't it?
We have classes that go on sale December 10th. 2 classes. And they are a bit pricey, but keep in mind that includes your machine. We have all the thread. We even have a bin of scraps that you can go through, even hardware in the classroom. We have interfacing. Like, literally, if you showed up and you were like, I don't have anything to sew, we have templates, we have materials, we have hardware. You could put something together with what's in the classroom. And we also make sure that we pay the teachers travel, airfare, etc. fairly. Again, after years and years of teaching and not feeling like I was adequately paid or cared for, I was like, nope, not here. I'm not doing that. So
yeah, I was just about to say that. I noticed on quite a few of the things that you've released about, obviously the classes that you've already had and the ones coming up in 2025. A big thing for you was making sure that the people who were teaching those classes were paid fairly for the amount of time, because it's not just the time that you turn up to teach, it's all the hours that go in prior to that to make sure those teaching hours go as perfectly as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also do a survey after each class, and those are my favorites because we want to improve. We want to get better. We can't just sit there and be like, well, here's our classes. That's it. It's like, what could we do to make it better? What would you have liked to see? And almost everybody is like, it was amazing. That was the best thing I've ever done. And I'm just like, thanks. I'm glad. So.
Obviously, Rebecca's online looking to see about flights, because she's asking, what is your nearest airport?
Our nearest airport is going to be the St. Louis Lambert Airport, and that is about 35 minutes from us. So we also have the Sew Whatever Studio Facebook page that has like a pamphlet that you can scroll and find. It's a little PDF that has like what's nearby, how close are they, our preferred hotel, things like that. Again, we're extremely anxious. I'm a very anxious person, so I'm like, I need to know where I'm going to go. I need to know how long it's going to take me to get there. But I don't want to do the research. Somebody just tell me. So that's kind of what we created, was like, here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think when you go into somewhere that you've never been before, or even been in the area before, just having that bit of information, it alleviates a lot of anxiety, but it just makes the whole trip or experience just go a lot more smoother, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
There's nothing like a little bit of local knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh. It's like when you're sort of visiting somewhere and you get chatting to a local and they tell you about this amazing restaurant that's round the corner that nobody would know about, and you find out about it because you've spoken to somebody who's local and knows the area. Yep. And obviously you are doing something right, because Lisa says Lauren is a hostess with a mostess.
I love it.
And Kira has put the link in the description, well, in the comments. And obviously the live comments are available on the replay. I think with the way YouTube works, it takes a couple of hours for it to render and those live comments come through. So if you are watching it back, say, in an hour's time, and those live comments aren't there, they will be in a little while. It's something I noticed a little while ago when looking on a video, and I was like, there's no live comments. Oh my goodness. But I think it was after Kasaya's video, and I was like, there's no live chat.
Oh, no.
But it did appear about an hour later. I think Facebook there. YouTube just needs a little while to catch up with itself.
Yeah.
Tracy's saying you obviously love pink.
I do.
I don't know what gave her that idea at all.
Yeah.
No
Which
idea.
is good, though, because I generally feel dead inside. I just really love a lot of black as well. So this is kind of like,
Yeah. Maureen saying, I need to organise a group trip for us all. Yeah, no, I need somebody else to organise it and I just turn up. That's what I need.
Yeah.
Terry saying thumbs up to all. Craft, knit and sew. Oh, I think this might be Sophie. Give me a thumbs up if it is Sophie. Says, would have to sell a kidney to travel from Gateshead to the USA. Well, the Gateshead's just literally around the corner from me. So, we could just make it one really large road trip, collect everybody on the way to the airport. And
take a cruise ship, maybe.
Well, I was actually just saying that the other day. A cruise is something that's really something that I fancy doing. And obviously seeing all the sewing cruises as well.
Yep.
I was thinking, could I talk Andy into one of them? Kira saying her husband has a boat. I mean, yeah. So Lynn saying that would be a great idea. Scottish Highlands would be a great place. Yes, we just need to get you over to the UK. That would make it a little bit easier. So I've got a spare bedroom, so I can deal with the accommodation. We just need to find somewhere that's as resourceful as obviously what you have over there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if
or
there is
everybody
anything,
just
to be fair.
Everybody just bring their stuff, and that's okay too.
Yeah, we'll just charter a plane or something like that. Nova's saying, hands down, the best host. I loved being a teacher at her facility. She really treats you the best.
We loved having Nova too. I'm excited for her to come back next year.
Nikki's saying she's late, but that's fine, Nikki. I know that we were early this evening, obviously to accommodate time differences and Lauren's very, very busy schedule. So
it sounds so. She's so busy, but
you are. But yes, in order to make it happen, then we just changed a little bit.
Thank you for being willing to. That was fun.
That's okay because it means I get the evening off. I get a night to just go and sit and chill. So that doesn't happen very often. Terry's saying she's trying to be more organised. It does make such a difference. Lauren's space inspires me and it can be done. Yeah.
It is definitely hard to organize and stay organized. For a very long time, I was not. But I do find that I'm able to feel a little bit more creative when I have a clean space. And it's kind of like when chefs are cooking and it's like mise en place where everything you clean up as you go. It's like just clean up as you go, get in the habit, but it's not easy and it's not for everybody, so it's okay if your sewing room is a mess as long as you're able to create in it.
Yeah. I am exactly the same as you. I mean, you can probably sort of see my space now, and this is how it is all of the time. If it gets more untidy than this, I get quite stressed. I don't know if you get the same, if it's messy and I'm all right, well, where's this then? Because it's not in its place. I find that quite stressful.
Yep, same.
I'm like you. I need not complete, but I need it to be pretty organised, pretty tidy, in order to feel inspired and creative. But I know a lot of people, and especially creative people, so I don't know whether me and you are in the minority here, but a lot of creative people need to have, that not a kiosk is the wrong word, but that sort of, the need to be able to see all of their fabrics and the need to, have everything like at hand and be able to get, touch it and see it. And everything has to be in a cupboard for me with the door shut. So, and I'll get it out when I want to.
I think for me, having everything in a specific spot is important for when I get into like that flow state of creativity where I'm not thinking about it and my body just knows like, okay, there's the snips, there's this. So that's my favorite part of sewing is like, and even when I used to paint, I would just get into like this flow state of like creativity and just turning off many light switches in the brain and just being able to create without distraction or thought.
Yeah. Lana's saying no, chaos is the right word. Oh, well, I'm pleased. And my husband is saying he might get a night to sew now. Because obviously if I'm in here, he can't be. We're trying to see if we can make it work so that, like, whether he can be there and I can be here, or whether it's just a little bit too tight. We haven't
Yeah,
figured it out
so
yet.
this sewing machine here is just far enough away from this one that if I have a friend over, they can sew there or vice versa. So it is kind of fun to be able to sit next to each other and sew.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not sure whether there's enough space, but I mean, obviously, me and Andy know each other really well, so you know, if we have to be very, very close to each other, that's okay.
That'd be fine.
It's not like, you know, just getting some random person in off the street and going, "Hey, sit on my lap and sew." Because
people would be into it though, but I think that's a different genre.
Yeah. Well, I think we might just get to make it work, because he quite likes sewing on the HD9. So, and nice. It means I don't have to give up Jack. So I've got Jack and Jill.
Oh, that's I love that.
Machines are called.
Love it.
So yeah. So when he decided he did quite like this sewing machine, I was like, no, I don't think I like that now, because that's my sewing machine. We definitely can't fit 2 industrials in this room. We will definitely be struggling with that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have to get him back onto this one. So there's lots of people who are saying that they create in chaos. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
No. I mean, in some ways, I prefer not to be as tidy in here. I'm not as tidy in the rest of my house. But, you know, in here, it has to be. And I sometimes wish I wasn't so bad, because sometimes I'll come in and I have to tidy before I do anything.
Yep.
And if I didn't have to tidy, then I could just get on with the fun stuff. But no, it has to be done. And I know that you feel me in this one. You understand where I'm coming from.
I truly do. Yep, there are times where I'd come down here for my free hour and I'm like, well, I can't do anything because not everything is put away, so I'll put it away. And then I'm like, well, maybe next time.
That's the hour gone. And I'm going to finish off with Rebecca's comment saying, currently redesigning my space. You know that scene in Friends when Ross comes in and screams, "You've been burgled." That. Yeah, that was this space actually the very, very morning of doing the podcast episode with Kasaya. I'd changed everything round, and then this machine had decided not to work, so we had to change everything round again. The internet kept going down because something was wrong with the cable. So I was having one of those meltdown moments that we were talking about earlier on, about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, just before. But it all got sorted. It was all fine. But yeah, it definitely looked like I'd been burgled, because it was
it's okay to cry about it, but it's going to get better and it'll be okay.
Yeah. My husband usually was like, "Deb, it's not helping. Crying's not helping." And I'll be like, "I know."
Sometimes it does help a little bit.
Yeah. It doesn't get things done though, does it?
No.
But your space looks so pretty. And like, you know, somebody said in the chat, very pink. And I love it. And I'm not normally a pink person, but I do love your sewing space.
I feel like the colors kind of make it less intimidating. It feels less like industrial and more like Barbie. So I really enjoy that. Yeah.
It does look very inspiring. It looks like just somewhere that you'd want to go and sit and create and, you know, make all the pretty things.
Yeah, for sure. And I like.
But thank you so much for, like I said before, for giving up your time today to come and spend with us and chat with us and tell us all about your sewing journey. It's been really fun, and I can't wait to see what 2025's got in store. I know you said it's a little bit, hopefully going to be a little bit of a slower pace for you, but I'm still sure that means there'll still be lots of things going on. Just hopefully
I'm hoping
at a better pace for you.
Yeah, exactly. I think that'll kind of yield to more creativity and just kind of restructuring the days. It'll be a nice change. Yeah.
And obviously getting to spend more time with Dorothy as well. I mean, that's always going to be a winner, especially when she's so young. You've got to make the most of it.
Yes. And especially with talking with you and you're like, well, I've got 20 and 30, and I'm just like, that'll be me someday. I got to slow down right now or I'll blink and it's gone, and what have I done?
Yeah. So one nearly 30, one 28, 29, and one 20. So no, it's 27, 28. I'm totally forgetting how old my son is. 2 years younger than the eldest. So wow. So before you know it, she will be away at university or college, as you call it.
Yeah, and sewing will still be here.
Yeah, and I can absolutely see her rocking the world. I can see her making, like, she's gonna be the first female president. I'm telling you.
Maybe, I don't know.
I can
She's
just see
something
it.
else.
I can't see it in her. Even just in the pictures that you post, I'm like, yeah, she's got.
She is a force.
Aren't they all?
Yes.
Oh. But I will let you get on with your day. Like I say, thank you to everybody for joining us earlier in the evening. Obviously, it will be available to watch back at any time. Thank you as well for all of Lauren's subscribers and followers who've come in and been in the chat as well. It's been really fun to have some new, different faces, as well as all of our regular lovely people who come in and enjoy the chat.
Thank you for emailing and asking me. It was really cool. And I'm glad that you were available on such short notice, because I think if we'd put it off, I'd probably overthink it. So I was like,
I'm the same.
Great.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm like, oh, no. So no, it's been really fun. Next week I have the lovely Ray, who you will see it's all scheduled into my YouTube, so you can go on, you can click to be notified to see when we go live. And exactly the same thing, I'm going to be chatting to her about her bag making journey, what inspires her, what things she likes to make, and I'm really looking forward to it. So until next time, enjoy your evening, everybody. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.